Assalamu alaikum. Delighted to be here with you this evening on behalf of Premier Dalton McGuinty of the Government of Ontario and with at least two of my colleagues, Ereza Maridi and Bob Delaney, and there may indeed be others. And yes, I am delighted to be here with representatives of other parties at different levels of government. It is extremely important to have events such as this, a coming together of all peoples, different faiths, different languages, different birthplaces. We recognize instinctively that we are all one. There's strength in every one of us. That to reach our own potential, we need to not only draw on what's in ourselves, but benefit from what others have to offer. And in order to reach our potential as a province and a country, every one of us needs to reach their potential. I'd like to thank you, Mr. President, for having hosting such an important event such as this. And I, like you and all others in this room, look forward to hearing from Associate Chief Justice O'Connor as we celebrate this evening and his contribution to the ideals that we all share. If you'll allow me, I would just like to read a few remarks that Premier McGuinty has prepared and asked me to pass on to you. On behalf of the Government of Ontario, I am delighted to extend warm greetings to everyone here celebrating Eid-ul-Adha, hosted by the Association of Progressive Muslims of Ontario. The joyous celebration of Eid is once again upon us. The Muslim Canadian community is an integral part of our rich cultural tapestry. This important event on the Islamic calendar is an ideal opportunity to recognize the many vital contributions of Muslim Canadians to enriching the social, cultural, and economic life of our province. Eid-ul-Adha is a time to reflect on the value of friendship and family relationships, and an occasion to remember the importance of sharing with others. Thanks to the hard work and cooperation of the many groups that call Ontario home, we have built a harmonious society that values and embraces citizens of all backgrounds and from all walks of life. We have much to be thankful for. On this special occasion, please accept my best wishes for a memorable Eid and much ongoing success, Premier Dalton McGuinty. Thank you very much.
I would now like to call forward the Leader of the Ontario Progressive Conservative Party, John Tory.
Well, Janet and distinguished guests, one and all, Assalamu alaikum, Eid Mubarak. It's my honor and pleasure as the leader of the Ontario Progressive Conservative Party to be here once again, and to begin by saying congratulations and thank you to the association, because I think, as many of you know who've been here before or have been to the Canada Day event, which, Mobeen, you moved to Ottawa last year, which certainly makes it more difficult for us to be there at midnight celebrating Canada Day with you first and then get back to Toronto for other events. But nonetheless, it's a wonderful thing, among many wonderful things this association does, and that includes honoring tonight Associate Chief Justice Dennis O'Connor. I'm pleased to be associated with any organization that honors Associate Chief Justice O'Connor, because, as you will hear, those that don't know him, he is the epitome of what we want to see in our justice system. I think we're reminded all the time when we come to these kinds of events that Eid is a time for purity and for forgiveness and peace. It's a time of sharing and help for others. The events that I've been to, of course, every one of them has featured some kind of an event that involved helping other people as part of the celebration of Eid, although it gets much less attention in the news coverage, for example. They cover the big crowds that are out celebrating Eid, but not the reaching out to help other people that's a part of it. And, you know, in this province where we've made so much progress over the many years at reaching out to embrace diversity, Eid is also a time, I think, to remind ourselves of some of the foundations of Islam, including sharing. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was asked what actions were the most excellent in Islam, and he said as follows. He said, and I quote, "To gladden the heart of a human being, to feed the hungry, to help the afflicted, to lighten the sorrow of the sorrowful, and to remove the wrongs of the injured." And you know, when Janet talked earlier about interconnection, I'm one of those, as many of my friends here who are with me in public life have come to realize, as you have the joy of visiting mosques and temples and gurdwaras and churches and synagogues and so on, that there's a great interconnection of values between and among all those faiths, including in particular Islam. And I think that part of the reason why I will often quote the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, or the Quran, is because I think it is an opportunity to point out the fact that there is this interconnection, because I think it's a big job that we all have to do. Job is perhaps the wrong word because it makes it sound like it's something that we don't want to do, but I think it is an important responsibility and a privilege that we have to make sure that we can help understand each other better and understand each other's faiths. Who among us in all of these different faiths couldn't embrace the words of the Holy Koran when it says, "None of you has faith until you love for your neighbor what you love for yourself." And that comes out of the Koran. And so I think that we have a lot of work to do, and I think it's great that an event like this is held, because what it means is an event that is important on the calendar of the Islamic faith becomes an important date on the calendar for everybody of all faiths who are fellow citizens and who share this wonderful province and country. And so to conclude, I will simply say that I want to say thank you to the association, thank you to those here from the Muslim community who do so much to contribute to the strength and vitality and dynamism of this province in so many different ways, and that I commit myself, as I'm sure do the others here as your guests, to working on that important journey of mutual understanding that we can build between and among all the different people who make up the province. Because I think when there's one part of province building that's more important than the others, that's the one. To make sure that we understand each other better, that we embrace each other more, and that any misunderstandings that exist about different groups in Ontario society are erased by facts and by knowledge as opposed to other things that sometimes prevail. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much, John, and thank you to both Chris and John for your attendance this evening, and for the other political folks who we will be recognizing a little later this evening. I know everybody, it's a busy time of year, so we're always very pleased when we have representation here, as we have had many times. Now, society loves to tell lawyer jokes, but it is the law, in the rules that it lays down, in the respect with which we observe those rules, that truly makes a civilized society, where equality, tolerance, acceptance can truly flourish. So it is very appropriate tonight that we honor someone who is a symbol of that law and who will be addressing us. So to get us started, I would like to make the introductions, call to the microphone Paul Cavalluzzo, who is a partner in the firm of Cavalluzzo, Hayes, Shilton and McIntyre, and who was counsel on 2 royal commissions, who actually did a lot to set some interesting standards for the law here in this province, Royal Commission on Walkerton and Arar. So thank you very much, Mr. Cavalluzzo.
Thank you very much, Janet, and thank you to the association for giving me the honor this evening of introducing to you Chief Justice Dennis O'Connor, who over the last several years has gained the enormous respect and admiration from people across Canada. And I'm going to talk a bit about, over the next few minutes, about his contributions to public policy, the law, and human rights in this country and this province. Now, Dennis has had a varied career as a lawyer, a law professor, and a judge. And in these various careers, he has shown particular compassion and respect for vulnerable groups of citizens in our society who have not really been shown adequate protection by their government. Now, in 1973, as a young lawyer, Justice O'Connor moved to the Yukon Territory and was appointed as a magistrate. And there he became an icon by the way he administered justice in a fair and admirable fashion, but he did it in a way that was tailored to the needs of the local communities. And he was accepted by the local communities, and as I said, certainly they appreciated the kind of compassion and justice that he brought to their territories. And indeed, he was affectionately known in the Yukon Territories as Old Crow. Now, why they gave him the name of Old Crow, I really don't know, and maybe he might tell us this evening.